So GVM has come out with a new series of professional grade LED lighting, designed of course for professionals and enthusiasts and maybe some cinematography type students. So this represents really their highest grade or best lighting that they have available in their lineup. Now before I get into what I think are important features in this kind of lighting, I want to disclose that GVM is a new company that I just started working with, so you'll probably see more products from them on my channel. But that said, they're not paying me to make videos. They're not telling me what to say in my videos, and you're always seeing these videos before they do. However, I do get to keep this light, which is of course a perk, so just keep that in mind when you're watching this review or really any review online. So with that said, let's get started. All right, so let's just start with some of the basics, right? So right here we have our display and our buttons and dials. And even though this display is a little bit on the small side, it's still very, very easy to read because it's a very high contrast, full color OLED display, so it's very easy to read. And to navigate the menus and things, we have a plethora of buttons here, and these two dials here are also clickable, so it's pretty easy to navigate through all the different settings. And when you first turn the light on, you're presented with these three options here: CCT, source matching, or special effects. So if we go into the CCT first, this is where we can control our Kelvin between 2700 and 6800 for our white balance. We also have the percentages here, and it steps in tenths of a percent all the way up to 100% there. And that's it for there, right? Every light does that. And let's go back out, and we can go into the source matching. So if you don't know the exact color temperature of your lighting, if you have additional lighting in the room, you can just kind of select it here. So we have tungsten here. What's this? This is, I don't even know what these are. There's a bunch of different choices here: studio lamp, soft lamp, halogen, candle, etc. So this is kind of handy shortcut to different color temperatures if you're not familiar with using kelvins. But I don't see a lot of professionals really needing that. And then finally we go into the special effects, where we have a choice of like lightning and what else we have here? CCT loop, or just kind of cycles through the different color temperatures. Candlelight, where it just mimics candlelight. So, whatever you want to do for your creative cinematography or videography, you can use this lighting for those kinds of effects. And really, these are the kind of things you would expect on really any lighting that you would buy these days. Whether it's a budget, affordable type lighting, you're going to get special effects. You're going to get a bicolor light to control temperature. It's going to be dimmable. These are kind of the baseline things that you should get in any light that you buy. Now, when you step up to professional grade lighting, you get additional features. So if we go into the menu here, you'll notice the first thing here are DMX settings. And this comes in both 8-bit and 16-bit. So we have our DMX input and a pass-through or DMX output here. And then in the next page here, we have our dimming curve. So this allows you to sort of ramp up the brightness and darkness either very slowly or very quickly, or in an S-curve. So it gives you a little bit more creative control or artistic license in your pre-production. It is a stepless dimming, so like when you're going from 1% to 100%, it's very, very smooth transition. There's not like this stepping effect when you go from 1%, then you go to 2, and it kind of jumps in brightness. So that's just another nice professional feature. And then over here, we have our wireless settings. Of course, this is for the app, and this is Bluetooth controlled. And then on the next page here, we have a studio feature, which basically the light is going to remember the last settings that you used after you power it off. So if we select this, we can turn the studio lighting on or off. So if this is kind of fixed or a permanent fixture in your studio, every time you turn the light on, it's going to use the same settings it used last time. And then the next feature here, this is the frequency setting, and this is really useful for minimizing or completely eliminating any kind of banding or flickering you might get in your videography. And for photography specifically, you might get banding. And this allows you to dial in certain frequencies, because LED lighting, it actually pulses on and off. And it's not perceptible to the naked eye, but our cameras and gear pick it up very easily. So if you're getting banding and things like that, this gives you the option to adjust for that. And then finally, we have our fan control settings. And we have three choices here: smart, high, and silent. And right now I have it in smart mode, where it's going to control the fan automatically. And you probably haven't heard it this entire video because it is very, very silent when I'm using such low power. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it up to high and see if you can hear it. And I'm standing right next to it. So now we're running it high, and I'm standing right next to the light. And I'm not using any special noise reduction. I'm just using the very basic noise reduction that's actually built into this microphone. And it's completely silent. However, I can hear it with my own ears. But when I put it into smart mode or silent mode, let me just dial it into silent mode. So now I have to put my ear all the way right up next to the light. And that's the only way I can really hear it. The microphone certainly isn't going to pick that up. And if you do any noise reduction at all, it's completely eliminated. A lot of budget lighting just have full auto, or it's just on all the time. So again, this is another feature that you typically find in more professional lighting. And then we have our language settings right there. And then in our system settings, again, this is for checking firmware updates and resetting the light back to factory defaults. Now, the only caveat I ran into when I was going through the menu settings is that when you put the fan into silent mode, you cannot use any of the special effect modes. However, you still can use the CCT mode and the color matching modes, and you can still dial in up to 100%. Now, let's talk about the overall build quality of this light. It is a full metal aluminum alloy construction, so everything from the very front of the light going all the way to the back, including the buttons and dials and its handle, is all metal. And then the yoke here, we do have plastic knobs here. However, the yoke itself is all metal. And then there are metal teeth here in the friction joint, so that when you lock this in, your light is not going to droop or sag to the weight if you use like very heavy modifiers on the front of this. So once you lock this in, it's good and tight. Now, this uses a Bowens mount to attach your light modifiers, like the bowl that comes with it. And you know, the Bowens mount is pretty much the industry standard when it comes to attaching light modifiers to a studio light. So you're not going to have any problems getting all different kinds of light modifiers. And then another nice touch is the LED light itself is threaded here on the front. So you can actually screw on filters. Right now, the only one available, I think, is like this mini diffuser. This kind of reminds me of like the UV filters that you put on the front of your lens, because it doesn't really diffuse the light very much, but it does protect the LED elements or the cob lighting on the front here. So it'll be interesting to see like if they come out with gels or things, you know, that you can put on the front, maybe some gobo type stuff. That would be really cool. Now, also included is this very nice carrying case. It's a very nice canvas material, and it's very well padded, and it has room for both the light, the power brick, and the 7 or 8 inch reflector bowl there. So I'm always a sucker for a really nice bag, but this is also included. This is probably, you know, if you had to buy these separate, they're like $100, right? And they also give you this additional protection here that just attaches via the Bowens mount right onto the front. So that's kind of a nice touch for when you're out in the field and stuff. Just gives you a little bit more security. Now, I've seen kits for this light that include sort of a light stand and a light modifier. Let me show you the one that you can get. You know, this is your standard parabolic, this I think a 24-inch parabolic light diffuser. And it's pretty nice. It has a bunch of clips here so you can collapse it down for easy travel. Now, the kit also includes a basic light stand. It's not very good, to be honest. Mainly because it gets the job done. It'll hold this light, it'll hold this parabolic diffuser here. But typically when you buy a light like this with this kind of power, 300 watts in this case, you're going to be attaching much bigger or much heavier modifiers, and a light stand is just not going to cut it. I would recommend, if you're going to be doing things like that, to not get this kit, but to buy separately like a C-stand and a larger light modifier. So I recorded some footage outdoors to demo one of the use cases for this light. So if you like to do stylized interviews, or maybe you want to do talking head videos out in the field, I mean, at 300 watts, you have more than enough power to use this in broad daylight. And I don't think this particular model, the 300 watt and the 200 watt, have a V-mount battery option. So you will need main power, but what I did is I just used a 300 watt power bank that has an AC plug in it. So even if I ran this at full power, I would get about an hour's use out of a single power bank. And typically I'm running at 10 or 20%. The most I ever used was like 30%. And at 30%, I'll get almost 3 hours of use out of this light on this one little power bank that I carry with me. So let's cut over there now, and just let me apologize in advance for the audio because it was very noisy in my backyard, but you'll still be able to get a good idea of what this light can do. I have my GVM SD300 right here, and dome diffuser also from GVM. Over here I have my EM5 Mark III with the 12-40 Pro, and right here I have my iPad with the GVM app installed, so I can control both of these lights wirelessly and make adjustments if I need to. And then over here, I may or may not really need this, but this is, my plan was to use this as kind of like rim lighting or fill light if I were to put it in front of me. This is actually also running on battery power, so let me show you what that looks like. So here's the power brick that you would normally power or plug into a mains, but instead it's a 300 watt power bank. Okay, so here's the app. And then I can just turn the lights on and off right here. So that one's turned on. This is the SD80D, and then I'll go over here to the 300, and then let's go ahead and turn that on. All right, so right now I'm just running at 10% power, and you can see it makes a huge difference because if I turn this off, look at that, right? Now the lighting is very, very flat, even though it's maybe properly exposed. It's still very flat. So let me turn this light back on. All right, so let's take a couple of photo shots using this lighting and see how that looks. All right, so I think what I'll do is I'm just gonna move this light here over to in front of me to give me a little bit of fill. All right, now let's do one with no lights so you can see the difference. So we'll turn that one off and turn that one off, and then we'll take another picture. Now the sun is kind of peeking through a little bit right on me, so I'm going to turn the lights on to try to mitigate that look. So let's turn this back on. So you can see what a difference just a little bit of LED lighting can make when you're outdoors. So overall, I think GVM did a really good job in designing this light for professionals. I mean, it's now got an all metal alloy construction, so I think it'll stand the test of time in terms of durability, whether you're using it like in a busy studio situation, or maybe you like take it out in the field. And, you know, I had no trouble attaching very, very heavy modifiers to this with complete confidence. And, you know, it also has a lot of new features in it that I think many professionals will also appreciate. And what's really amazing is the price point for this. This is the 300 watt version, but the list price is $389. And if you've been shopping professional 300 watt lighting, I'm sure you've seen what I've seen, right? $1,000 or more. So this is really, again, a bargain and a great value. So I hope you found this review helpful in determining if this is the right light for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.